like to say good afternoon to everyone. We'd like to call the meeting of the Shreveport City Council to order. We ask that if you have your cell phones, would you silence them or turn them off? I'm going to ask that Councilman Nicholson would lead us in prayer. Councilwoman Taylor, would you lead us in the pledge?
Dear God, thank you for this day. Thank you for the opportunity to once again come together to do the business of the city. Help us always to remember the importance of the trust that voters place in us, and help us always to discharge the obligations of our offices with dignity and respect and diligence. Amen.
Amen.
Stand on the heart. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, would you call the roll, please?
Councilwoman Taylor. Present. Councilwoman Fuller. Councilman Nicholson.
Present.
Councilman Butcher.
Here.
Councilman Jackson. Councilman Drew.
I'm here.
And Councilman Holt.
Thank you. Tomorrow, I will entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the administrative conference and special meeting Monday, July 11, 2022, and City Council meeting Tuesday, July 12, 2022. Does any member of the council have any awards or recognition or distinguished guests today that would not exceed 15 minutes?
We'll go tomorrow.
Tomorrow? Anyone else?
No, sir.
Thank you. Ms. James, you have any awards or recognition, a distinguished guest, not to exceed 15 minutes?
The mayor may have some coming tomorrow.
Okay, thank you. Do you have any other communications from the mayor?
I do not.
Thank you. Does any member have any concerns relating to property standards for Mr. Green? No, thank you, Mr. Green. Mr. Clark, do you have a master plan committee report today? Thank you. Did everyone receive the budget financial report? Will we have it available tomorrow?
Yes, sir. It'll be available tomorrow.
Thank you. Public hearings, there's none. Ms. James, do you know if you'll have any legislation to be added tomorrow?
No, sir, not to my knowledge.
Thank you. Today, we will hear public comments on non-agenda items and also agenda items. The council clerk will call the names and they will control the time.
Jeff Westmoreland.
Good afternoon, members of the council and other staff. My name is Jeff Westmoreland. I represent Centenary Commons Homes Association, located in the Highland area at 2500 Centenary Boulevard. This is the last item on the agenda. It is appeal case number 22-9-BAC, a request by an owner who purchased in that condominium or that townhome regime for special exception use for short-term rental, or Airbnb or VRBO. I know I only have a few minutes, so I had sent the council a letter last week. I just got hired late last week. I cannot be here tomorrow. So the first request I have is to push this one more meeting until the next meeting. But since I'm here and I do have your attention, I want to point out that this use violates the covenants of this HOA. This HOA has had covenants in place since 1980. It specifically says, and I have copies I can provide, Article Roman numeral 8, Section 1, no lot shall be used except for residential purposes. And then it also says that no building shall be erected, placed, etc., other than one single-family dwelling. The case law out there is pretty clear that this is a different use than if you just rented this townhome to somebody who was going to reside there as their permanent residence during the term of a lease. This is using this property as a hotel or a hotel-like use or lodging. because an Airbnb can be rented by the night, by the weekend, by the week, by the month. You see most of them as very short-term rentals, which is usually a couple of days or a weekend. Other cases, I represent a lot of HOAs. Other cases we've had a real problem with Airbnbs being used for parties. They rent them, they party in it, they disturb all the neighbors around them, and then they're gone come Sunday afternoon. And so this is not used for a residential purpose. Nobody is residing in an Airbnb. They are lodging temporarily. It is not used for a single-family dwelling because it's not being used as a dwelling. It is being used as a lodging or a hotel. It is also, some of the case law out there says it's a commercial use. Again, it distinguishes, it's different than if I just lease my unit to a person for a year or 2 years. Those people are residing there. That is their residence, that is their permanent residence until the end of that lease term. And so what we are asking is that you deny this special exception permit because these covenants have been in place far longer, far before this ordinance was passed, far before this individual owner purchased. So thank you for your time, and if there's any questions, I'd be glad to field.
Chairman,
Yes, ma'am.
would you all object to postponing this tomorrow for the next 2 weeks? Because that's what I would like to do, to not just let him, the attorney, have more time, but for the opposition to be prepared, because I don't know that they realize that the homeowners association has retained an attorney.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Fuller.
Is it Hassan Amir?
Dear council members, thank you for the
Would you
opportunity.
state your name and address?
Hassan Amir,
Yes, sir.
7634 University Drive.
Yes, sir.
Dear council members, thank you for the opportunity to speak in front of you. My name is Hassan Amir. I'm 14 years old. My sister Zainab is 15 years old. Our mom Zara is a single mother and she operates a store on Hillary Huckabee. She works hard and has to put a roof over our heads and food on the table. If this law or ordinance is implemented, she's going to lose the business and we are going to lose the roof over our heads and the food on our table. This business is bread and butter for our family. Please reconsider this law. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Nusrat Mugad? I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name.
Okay, Magal. This is Magal. My sister, she owns
State your name and address for the record, sir.
Okay, this is Magal. I'm at 210 Bench Drive, Stonewall, Louisiana. And my sister, she owns a liquor store at Hillary Huckabee Drive, is 4374. And she's a single mom, and her husband got killed a few years back, and she's the sole breadwinner of the family. And she was told to she would have to remove the sodas, the chips, and the tobacco in order to, if the license had to be to be renewed. And if she removed the sodas, this tobacco, and the chips, people are just going to stop by, just only for the alcohol. So she would lose a lot of business and end up closing because people would not just stop by just only for alcohol. Anytime somebody get alcohol, they can get some cigarettes or something else, sodas or chips for the kids or something. It is like a drive-through liquor store, and a lot of people, just come through and buy the stuff, like the snacks and stuff like that for the kids, or if they're in the back seat, or and this is the only source of income she has, and she will lose business. You cannot just sustain business only selling beer and liquor. So in order to stay in business, you have to sell cigarettes at least. I mean, if it's a big deal, she can remove the chips or sodas, but the cigarettes, anybody, I mean, is, consume alcohol, they would always buy the cigarettes. Everybody smoke. So if she, she would lose a lot of business if she ended up selling only alcohol. But if she, this establishment been there for years, and when we weren't even aware of this law and anything like that, when we were assuming like it was only as long as you sell alcohol, you can sell tobacco. Just like anywhere in the state, they have a. I never heard any other kind of state or city would have any, ordinance like that. Like in Bossier City, and everybody, everybody sell liquors at the gas stations, whatever. But pretty much they sell everything. I mean, but please consider everything in this situation, and everything be appreciated. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Liz Swain.
Good afternoon, everyone. Liz Swain, 416 Cotton, and I'm here today to talk about something that's just really close to my heart, and I hope that you will all support number 97 tomorrow, which is spay and neuter of animals. This gives us an opportunity to do something along with the parish that could be really changing for the animal population in Shreveport and in Caddo Parish. For years I've owned dogs, love them. They're like my children. I have volunteered at rescues before, and it is heartbreaking when you volunteer at a rescue and there are always the dogs that will never be adopted, because there are so many. These are dogs that will live out their entire lives in cages with concrete floors that are hot in the summer, cold in the winter, let the elements in, and these are animals just looking for love, looking for a home. There are Facebook pages for the Caddo Animal Control that you can see as they are posting the terrible, terrible decisions that they are having to make on a regular basis about which animals will have to be put down, because there's simply not enough room, not enough cages, not enough money to take care of them. I can only imagine how I would feel in that situation if I had the life or death decision over these beautiful little creatures. So this opportunity is really something that I think is important to us as a community. I believe potentially that there have been questions that have been asked of some of you, well, what about people who don't have money to spay or neuter their animals? And I was talking yesterday to one of our local nonprofits, and they believe that they can find the money. There are nonprofits out there now like Robinson Rescue who do low cost and free spay and neuter. I believe that if there certainly is a will to do this, there is a way to do it. And I'm just so hopeful that we grasp this opportunity that we've been given and vote supportively tomorrow on ordinance number 97. I would appreciate that, and thank you so much.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
Ms. Swain, thank you so much for speaking in support of this legislation. I do want to call to the council's attention, at least to my understanding, this legislation will not require the owners of the dogs or the cats to pay for the spaying or neutering. The parish will cover that cost. So this really is a cost-free way from the public's perspective to avoid having to put down, kill thousands of animals a year in our shelters.
May I say one other thing, and
Yes, ma'am.
I'm so sorry to break in. One of the things that people say is, well, I don't have the money to spay or neuter. When you are unable to spay or neuter for whatever reason, the outcome is going to be many, many, many litters of unwanted animals. Those animals require food, they require veterinary visits, they require shots. So the cost in the end of what it will take to make these animals healthy would far surpass the cost of spay or neuter. Thank you again.
Thank you.
That's all the public comments.
Oh, okay, thank you. We'll have executive appointments to consider on tomorrow. We have no consent items to be adopted today. So at this time, Ms. James, would you proceed with regular Agenda legislation.
Resolution 99, accepting the public dedication of Resilient Way, Rights of Way, and Resilient Technology Park, Unit 1. Resolution 100, authorizing the City of Shreveport, Louisiana, purchasing agent to reject all bids received for Fire Station 17, concrete drive replacement, bid RFQ number 22-518. Resolution 101, dedicating the 3200 block of Tower Drive in honor of Tamika Goodman. Resolution 102, dedicating the 2000 block of Ice Cream Street in honor of Elmer Henderson.
Thank you. Anyone have any questions on these items? Think if not, Ms. James, would you continue with introduction of resolutions not to be adopted prior to August 9th, 2022?
Resolution 103, authorizing the use of certain equipment by the North Shreveport Business Association. Resolution 104, authorizing the donation of surplus property, specifically motorized vehicles of the Shreveport Police Department, which are not needed for a public purpose, to a political subdivision. Resolution 105, authorizing the mayor to execute a banking services agreement with J.P. Morgan Chase Bank.
Anyone have any questions on any of these items? Seeing none, Ms. James, will you proceed with introduction of ordinance not to be adopted prior to August 9th?
Ordinance 98, amending the 2022 budget for the Street Special Revenue Fund. Ordinance 99, amending the 2022 budget for the Capital Projects Fund. Ordinance 100, amending the City of Shreveport, Louisiana 2022 Capital Projects Fund budget. Ordinance 101, amending the 2022 Capital Improvements Fund budget. Ordinance 102, amending the 2022 Airport Enterprise Fund budget. Ordinance 103, amending the 2022 Water and Sewerage Enterprise Fund budget. Ordinance 104, amending the 2022 General Fund budget. Ordinance 105, amending the 2022 General Fund budget. Ordinance 106, amending the 2022 General Fund budget. Ordinance 107, providing for issuance, sale, and delivery of taxable and tax-exempt general obligation refunded bonds, Series 2022 by the City of Shreveport, State of Louisiana, prescribing the form, terms, and conditions of such bonds, and providing for the payment thereof. Ordinance 108, to revise Chapter 78, Article 5, Standards for Construction of Parking Lots of the City of Shreveport, Louisiana Code of Ordinances. Ordinance 109, to amend various articles and sections in the City of Shreveport, Louisiana Unified Development Code for the purpose of updating and revising the regulations for political signs. Ordinance 110, case number 22-122-C, an ordinance to amend the official zoning map of the City of Shreveport Unified Development Code by rezoning property located southeast corner of East Kings Highway and East 70th Street, Shreveport, Cattle Parish, Louisiana, from R-A Rural Agriculture Zoning District to C-4 Heavy Commercial Zoning District.
Any questions on any of these items? Seeing there's none, Ms. James, will you proceed with ordinance on second reading and final pass?
Ordinance 92, amending the City of Shreveport, Louisiana 2022 Capital Projects Fund budget. Ordinance 93, amending the 2022 budget for the MPC Special Revenue Fund budget. Ordinance 94, amending the 2022 Community Development Special Revenue Fund budget. Ordinance 95, amending the 2022 Riverfront Development Special Revenue Fund budget. Ordinance 97, enacting Section 14-23 of the City of Shreveport, Louisiana Code of Ordinances relative to the mandatory sterilization of dogs and cats.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, is there any table legislation to be removed from the table today?
Not that I'm aware of.
We've had property standards, ABO appeals considered today. Do we have any appeals of case 22-9 VAC to consider tomorrow?
That's the only appeal.
Okay. Are there any other appeals, Madam Clerk?
That is the only one.
Are there any reports from officers, boards, and committees? Madam Clerk, is there a clerk report?
I do not have one, Chair.
Seeing that there is no executive session, if there's nothing else to come before us today, this meeting is